Oh, this is a different hunger, heavier than thunder, satisfied by love, love, that's what I said.
So I am here with one of my favorite musicians of all time, Trevor Hall.
Thank you.
And, of course. And for those of you who are not fortunate to have heard his music before, he has toured with people like Soja, Colby Calais, Modest Yahoo, Michael Franti, and his music's been featured in movies like Shrek, which of course we all know. So he's a legend, and I couldn't be more excited to have the chance to sit down with him. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Right on. So how did you get into music?
I got into music pretty young. My dad is a drummer. He's actually here.
Yeah.
So.
I was talking to him
Oh,
earlier.
you did?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my dad is a drummer, and so music was always around the house. So just growing up, even, you know, there's photos of me like in my diapers playing the drums. So it's kind of just from his influence and from my childhood, just started super early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so where did you grow up?
I grew up in Hilton Head, South Carolina. It's like small tourist destination,
Yeah.
you know, like golf and tennis and
Definitely.
beaches, and so, but it was cool because it was really, you know, small town and really sweet, and you know, just, you know, a lot of outdoor activities and
Right.
stuff. So it was really a really great place to grow up, but it was also good to get out when I got out.
Definitely.
You know, yeah.
Definitely. And so the Trevor Hall that I kind of grew up listening to
Right.
was dread-headed dude.
Yeah.
And so when I think of Hilton Head, South Carolina, I do not think of
Yeah.
reggae musicians,
Yeah.
white guy with dreads.
Right,
So
right.
how did you kind of find your kind of authentic voice and style?
Well, it's funny. A lot of people ask that. I mean, the part of South Carolina I grew up is, like I said, it's really touristy. So it wasn't really like southern in a way, you know. It was kind of tropical, you know, because it was the island, and you know, we grew up surfing and going to the beach, and so kind of being a surfer and kind of being in surf culture, I was really listening to a lot of music that was in like surf films, you know, which was a lot of like reggae music.
Gotcha.
And like Jack Johnson and Ben Harper and these types of conscious kind of artists, and of course Bob Marley, and
Right.
and so I kind of got, you know, that's how I found that influence, and ran with that. You know, a lot of people are like, how did, you know, because when they think South Carolina.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of through surf culture and just being in like a tropical environment, and that's just what hit me, you know, like when I heard reggae music or like acoustic music, that was the thing that hit me. So that's what I went with.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when did you kind of start performing and recording
Yeah.
music and that sort of thing?
Not till like a little later on. I mean, I think I was like 15 when, I mean, later on, it's like, I was 15, it's pretty young.
Yeah.
But my dad, for my birthday, I remember, I think it was my 15th or 16th birthday, he surprised me and brought me to his like friend's recording studio. And we did an album, but it was more of just like a thing to like sell to my friends. You know, it wasn't really like, this is what I want to do. You know, it was just kind
Right.
of like, it was what I love to do, and I just wanted to give it to the homies.
Yeah.
You know? So I recorded it, and then one of his friends, my dad's like really good friends in LA, was like, well, he should come out here and, you know, play a show. And I was like, play a show? You know, I don't know how to do that, you know, let alone in LA, you know.
Right.
And but that's just what happened, and that's kind of how it all started, you know,
Right.
for me, pretty young, you know, pretty
Right.
early. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you're 16, right, that's when you went
Yeah.
to Idyllwyld Arts
Yeah, I think
Academy?
I was like 16 or
Right.
17, yeah.
And so tell us about kind of that transition, because in previous interviews I've heard you mention that your grades
Right.
were not very good growing up in Hilton Head. And, But
Right.
when you got out to Idyllwyld, which is an art academy that you'll kind of talk about a bit, your grades kind of improved a lot.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm curious to kind of hear about that transition and that change of performance as well.
Yeah, I think I grew up the school that I was going to in South Carolina was like a prep school. You know, it was like a private prep school, like dress code and
Uniforms, yeah.
Yeah, just like, you know, didn't really have like a lot of attention on the arts. And for somebody that was like really artistic and wanted to express themselves so bad, it was kind of suffocating. And it was a good school, you know, if you wanted to like go to college and, you know, do that, but that just wasn't my thing. So I always felt kind of just off, you know, like, am I okay? Is this okay? You know, and I think that kind of lack of like inspiration really affected my just, you know, overall interest and attention in school, you know. And then when I went to the boarding school in California, Idyllwyld, it was an arts boarding school. You know, it's like an international school. There's kids from all over the world. Its focus is on the arts, so it's the exact opposite of the spectrum. And you know, kids are going to class and they're like pajamas and they have like purple hair, and I was just like, you know, I was just like, this is crazy. Oh my God, you know, and. They, you know, the emphasis was on the arts. The emphasis was on creativity and like just unleashing that artist within you. So I just like woke up every morning. I was so excited to go to class, and that I think in turn just helped, you know, my attention and my grades. And you know, it's funny because it's like, growing up, I think, you know, we're told to like read certain things, you know. Nobody likes being told what to do, you know. Like nobody does. I don't care who you are. And it's like when you're told to like, oh, you got to read these books like summer reading. You remember that stuff? Oh my God, that stuff killed me, right?
My mom remembers it.
Right? So,
read the damn
yeah,
book.
read the book. Yeah. You know, and then you get out of school and it's like I'm reading all the time. And it's because I had the freedom, you know, I had the freedom to go after what I wanted, or I had the freedom to like learn about what inspires me. And so that school really was all about like what inspires you. Whatever inspires you, go for it. Wow. And I think that is just kind of important in life, you know, in general. So yeah, it was a huge like I mean, when I graduated, I was like crying. I just was so sad to leave the place. I don't know how many kids, you know, cry when they get out of high school. So, yeah, it was really different, really different. And that's when my artistic kind of, you know, self really like went for it, and I started writing a lot.
Awesome. So that's awesome. I mean, you know, you were kind of disengaged with your work before at your previous high school, and then kind of once you were able to immerse yourself in this kind of creative environment of the curriculum was one thing, and then kind of the people that you're around was another. I mean, what were some of the types of people that you met that allowed you to really kind of tap into who you were as an artist?
Well, that was the thing. I think that, you know, the thing that most inspires me is people, you know, even today, you know, and I just was around these just beautiful souls, man, that just were so artistic and so like just spontaneously creative, and you know, you're around art all the time, and you're around art from around the world. You know, you got the Asian kids and European kids and all types of kids just creating, so you're really exposed to like all this different expression. And you know, a lot of the kids, they were just learning English, you know, but you could feel each other because you, through your artistic work, whatever that was, whether it was painting or music, and that's the thing that really just like cracked me open, you know. And even today, you know, it's like when we see, you know, people are like, what are you inspired by? It's like, well, I'm inspired by music, you know, like I'm inspired by other music, you know. It's because I love music, you know. And that's what it was like there, you know. I was just around so much art all the time, and we were in such a safe place, you know, to create art. We didn't have to think of it as a job yet. We didn't have to think of it as like, oh, I need to pay my rent or career. You know, we were very lucky just to 100% focus on our art. So it was, yeah, it was super special.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you've referred to your music as your duty. And so I'm curious to hear kind of what you mean by that.
Well, that's a good question. Did I say that?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh shoot. It's funny because like, it's funny. You know, a lot of people are like, when did you like want to be a musician?
Right.
You know, and I never wanted to be a musician. Like it's and people are like, what? You know, but it's like music was just like life. You know, and like there wasn't any point where I was like, I want to be a musician. Like, I want to play live in front of people.
Right.
Like, I was just going with it because it was like who I am. It's who I was, you know? And I think that as human beings, like, we're all given some type of gift, you know? And that gift doesn't have to be like, be a rock star, like, or be president of the United States. It could just be like.
You might need some help with that.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I didn't think of it like that. But some people need to need to reevaluate their duty. But you know, it's like it could be something small. Yeah. You know, like pumping gas. Honestly, like, you know, some of the most like inspiring moments of my life have been meeting like really simple strangers who do like something that's really simple, but they do it with such one-pointed attention and focus and so much joy. You know, that's the difference. You know, we have to look at the substance, not the external like amount. You know, so with music, to get back to your question, with like everybody, I believe everybody has a gift, and like for me, it was just kind of obvious. Like, I don't know what else I'm gonna do. You know, honestly, like, this is who I am, you know, and I feel like this is the gift that was given to me, and as long as it keeps giving itself to me, then it's my duty to share it, you know, or else it's just stupid. Right. Like, you know, anybody who has a gift to keep it to themselves is just, I feel like it's just kind of stupid.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I think what you mentioned around being something as simple as pumping gas, it reminded me of a story that I heard from this leadership expert. His name is like Sharma. He gets paid like $100,000 for like keynote speeches, which is mind-boggling, but that's another topic. Anyways, he met this janitor at this airport, and he was just struck by exactly what you said. Like, this janitor was like, welcome to my office. Like, this is my office. This is not a bathroom. This is my office. This is my place of work. And, you know, for you, I feel that you were in a very amazing environment that allowed you to kind of find that place, because, you know, you were surrounded by that curriculum of creativity and those amazing types of people. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that. And so for those types of people who are kind of looking to figure out, you know, what is my duty, or 20-somethings who are like, what the hell do I do with my life? Which is a question that we all have asked ourselves, and some of us are still asking ourselves. I mean, I'm still asking myself that.
I'm still asking myself.
Absolutely. So,
I think we asked our whole, you know, it's funny because it's like you know, something that I've really kind of been focusing on in the last couple years is like really going within myself and asking myself, who am I? You know, and you know, in India, which is a place that I'm really inspired by, is like yogis have been asking this question for thousands of years, you know, who am I? And not meaning I like, who's Trevor Hall? It's not that. It's like, who am I? What is that thing inside me that is moving me? That's like pumping my heart and blinking my eyes, and you know, who is that, like the thought before my thought, you know, the space before everything. Who is my deepest self? What is that, you know? And when you ask yourself that, the yogis believe that you're brought into a place of silence, you know? And I feel like a lot, you know, in today's world with what am I gonna do, especially in the West, especially in Western culture, you know, we're so obsessed with like career and like manifestation and job and going and answer your email and your phone and your text. We're so obsessed with it. You know, we go on these social media, and I'm do it too, you know. We put up pictures and we create like how we want people to see us, you know. We're so obsessed with it, and nobody really knows how to, like, you know, look within and turn within and chill. We don't know how to chill and slow down, you know. I mean, we're just going way too fast. There's a lot of pluses, obviously, to our culture and stuff, but there's a lot of, when it comes to like us as human beings, you know. It's funny, you know, I was reading this book, and forgive me if I'm going off topic here, but it talks about this. It talks about how in the West and in our culture, we're brought up like, hey, go to prep school, go to college, get a career, start a family, get a big house. Like, that's success, right? And you look at like our culture, like people do that, you know. This is something I learned growing up in Hilton Head, because it's kind of a wealthy place. People do that. They do those things. They follow that formula, and people are miserable. We have anxiety. We have depression. We have like all sorts of things. You're so loneliness, you know, living in these huge things. So that can't be the answer, right? Then you have these cultures, you know, third world cultures all over the world that don't have that much at all, but they have community, and they have tribe, and they have, you know, I was reading this report about like the indigenous cultures, like Native American cultures, you know, like before they were colonized, there was like reports and stuff, like they didn't know what anxiety was. They didn't know what depression was. Nobody committed suicide, like because of their own problems, you know. So what I'm trying to say is getting back to your question about like, what do I do with my life? I think it's a kind of a deeper question. I think only you can answer that. You as a person, you have to go into your heart and say, who am I and what do I want out of life? If you want to go live on the beach somewhere and, you know, be a beach bum and surf every day and eat papayas and you're happy, that is a greater service to me than being in a big corporate job, leadership job, and being miserable. Because my happiness is your happiness, right? You know, if I'm miserable, you're going to be miserable, right? As a people, like especially in America right now, I mean, it's crazy, right? You know, we still don't get it after all these years. You know, if one people is put down, you know, the other side of the scale, that happiness is not real happiness. That happiness will not last. You know, my happiness is your happiness. Everybody, it's a communal thing. It's all linked. You know, this is some hippie shit I'm talking about right now.
But you know what I completely agree, and I think you're spot on, and you know, I mean, something that I'm very passionate about and something that really excites me is when I find people like you who are so committed to something. And whether that thing, like you said, is music or pumping gas or, you know, maybe it is being the CEO. As long as it's something that fulfills you, it makes you happy, then that is what you need to be doing. Because like you said, it's a domino effect. It's going to transfer from one person to the next.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but it's something that you have to answer.
Right.
I'm not saying a corporate job is a bad job. Right. If you love doing that, you truly love doing it, and that's wonderful. But you know, you gotta look within and ask yourself that question. Especially when you have the freedom of being young.
No baby mamas.
No baby mamas.
No baby mamas. I mean, yeah. Awesome. Well, that's amazing. And so, going back a few years, you know, again, music is kind of your life, and it happens to be your career. And but with that comes kind of exhaustion and burnout, and that's kind of what happened to you that led you to take your kind of 1.5 year sabbatical. Right. And so, can you kind of tell us about that time in your life?
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years have kind of been a little tough. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I started touring when I was like, you know, 16 years old, you know, and toured like straight, you know, living out of a van pretty much, you know, and eating shit food and just, you know, like, I was doing what I loved. It was awesome. I got to see everywhere. But, you know, it came to a point, you know, a couple of years ago where it just kind of caught up with me.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not having fun at all. And like I was saying earlier, that's not going to help anybody. But I was like, I have to. There's no other way. So I took a break. I just said I'm done, and I don't want anybody to like call me about anything musical or anything. And I don't know when I'm gonna come back or if I'm gonna come back. I was just like, I just need to like take a break. So I just did exactly that. Like it was you know, it wasn't eventful. I mean, I just slept and cooked food out of my own kitchen, you know, and you know, wasn't worried about, I have to be in this place at a certain time, and like I really went inside myself, you know, and I got married, you know, which was like very healing for me, and then was just kind of focusing on that life and just slowing down, really, just really slowing down, and it was amazing. Yeah, it was awesome, you know, and as a result, you know, like for the first like few months of it, I didn't even pick up the guitar at all. I didn't even like listen to music. I just need to like silence, you know, and then, you know, after a few months, I started picking up the guitar and I was writing, and these songs were coming through, not from a place of like, I want to write a new album. It was just like, I need to like write these songs like for myself, to like heal myself, you know. And, you know, after a year and a half, I had like an album's worth of songs, and it was kind of, you know, unplanned on my part, but I was like, oh, well, I have to release this because this has really helped me, and I have to share it, you know. And as a result, it was like a beautiful, beautiful like experience, because I was like, you know, I was really being true to myself in the writing process, and I wasn't worried about, are people gonna like this? And and as a result, I think people like really resonated with it, and it's one of my favorite albums, you know, Chapter of the Forest, and I think that, you know, people feel that, they feel that honesty, and I really needed to just take that time to do that. I'm ready for another one.
Well, yeah, I mean that's awesome, and you know, for anyone who's kind of going through a dark place, and you've mentioned in your music many times and many different lyrics that, you know, those places of darkness and those places of suffering are where kind of the greatest lessons are learned, and so for anyone kind of going through maybe not the exact same scenario, but something similar, I mean, what are some kind of pieces of advice that you could share with those types of people so they can use these dark places to their advantage?
Well, the greatest thing that I learned over the past, you know, couple years is in regards to time, you know, and we released an album called Kala, which means time, and the biggest thing I learned is you can't rush your healing, you know, and somebody like me who, if I get into a zone in my head or I get stuck, I just want to get out of it right away. I just don't. I'm just like, I need to heal, or, you know, I need to get out. I need to be good. I need to be good. Oh my God, you know. I just like, it's like, and it just, the more you push, the more it pushes back, and the more you push, the more you give it life, you know. And the thing that I learned is if I just sit with it, and I am just still with it, and just be with it, and not try to pull it or push it or anything, it's the best thing I can do. And as a result, I learn why that thing has come to me, or why that thing is there, and what it's teaching me, you know. I had, you know, I in regards to healing, you know, I got really sick a couple years ago, or no, a year and a half ago. I don't even know now, but that's why I had to cut my dreadlocks, you know. And when I got sick, you know, I was like, man, why is this happening to me right now? I just want to be better. You know, we had all these shows lined up, and I was like, you know, why is this happening? And I ended up getting better, but I was really lost. I really felt lost, and I just wanted to be well, you know. And about a month later, the earthquake happened in Nepal, and my wife was supposed to fly over there before I got sick, and she canceled because I was sick. She stayed with me, and then we realized that she was going to fly out the night the earthquake happened. So the earthquake happened in the morning, and she was supposed to fly out that night if I didn't get sick, right? But at that moment I was sick, I was like, what is the reason for this, and blah, 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 and I'm always trying to figure it out. So my advice is just from my own experience, is to not rush your healing. Try not to push it. Just see what happens. Yeah. You know, if you're sad, just be sad. You know, and see what happens. Because there's usually something there. And, you know, some of the greatest, like, I'm sure anybody can relate, some of the greatest lessons in our life is when we were lost or confused, or, you know, they really made us get down in there and get into the dark and walk through it to come out. So just be patient with yourself. I'm like the most impatient person with myself. So you just have to be patient.
It's kind of shocking because you're, you know, mellow, Trevor Hall.
It's all a trick. It's all a trick. It's all an external show.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, let's transition a little bit to some brighter topics, right? So, as a musician, I mean, you have the privilege to share your gift to the world, and with that, you know, you're able to reach many thousands of people across the world. So, what are some of the kind of most fulfilling aspects of being a musician and being Trevor Hall?
Well, I mean, definitely I think the most fulfilling aspect is exactly that, is being able to kind of grow your family. You know, I mean, I would have never known at like 16 years old, that first album that I did, that I would like visit every state in America. And like, except Alaska. I still gotta get Alaska. Alaska, Alaska. I need Alaska. But, you know, music has that power to just remove, like, here we are. We're sitting here because of music, you know, and every place we go, you know, we know people in that city because of music, you know, and that's like the most rewarding thing. It's like, you know, and going and, you know, traveling so much, you know, it's like we go into a city, it's like I know that city. It's like, oh, this is my coffee shop, and this is where I want to get some food, you know. Music has that beautiful thing of just going beyond all barriers and going straight into the heart, because it's a feeling, you know. We can't hold it, we can't see it. It's an internal feeling, you know. So just being able to feel that with other people and see what it does to us is just so cool. It never gets old. Never gets old. So I would have to say that's probably my favorite part.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Something that I really love about you, and that's something that many other people love about you, is you're just...
Tell me.
Well, I might have to take it back now, but you're just stupidly humble. Like there's no ego there.
Whoops.
We'll cut that part out. Right?
Cut that part out.
But yeah, like, where does that come from? I mean, how are you able to kind of just stay balanced as you're able to, you know, reach these successes and that sort of thing?
I don't know. I think that it probably just comes from my parents, you know. I mean, my dad and my mom are just like incredible, and they just brought us up right, you know, me and my sister, and Southern, you know, manners and all that stuff. But yeah, I just don't feel good when I'm like an asshole. Right. You know, it's simple as that. You know, it's just like I value relationship, I value people, and like I just see everybody as equal, or I try to as best I can, and just cruise with that. You know.
Cool.
it's like one of my pet peeves too, is when somebody else makes you feel like small or lower. It's like just so stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. It's just stupid. So that's what
Awesome.
It's just how it is.
And so I kind of have a little bit of a selfish question, because when I was a senior in college, I had an idea to start a website, and I was kind of looking for inspiration, and I didn't really know what the kind of end goal of the site was. I just knew that I wanted to reach people, and I was listening to your song, Different Hunger, and it was just like, boom, that is it. So
cool.
Can you tell me what the meaning behind that song is?
Yeah, it's a song that's like, searching for pleasure, but we only find pain, and it's about, just as people, we search for happiness. We search for unlimited happiness in limited things. Simple as that. Everything is changing, right? Everything is constantly changing. This whole world, we're changing. Our minds are changing. Everything, So for happiness, we're looking in things that are changing. So it's not going to last, And Different Hunger is about that different hunger, the hunger of the soul, the hunger of the heart that wants to unite with that unchangeable entity. Whether you call it God or love or spirit, or there is a thing, the saints, and for me, the saints and the yogis and holy men from all different traditions, holy women, they've tasted it, so and we know that it's there. And Different Hunger is about, just having that hunger for spirit and not for things of this world, having a hunger for the heart, not living in our hearts, only living in our brains.
Right.
We're chasing after name and fame, these things are gonna go, so it's just about that internal hunger of the heart.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing, and I think you're kind of the creator of that name, and I think it's definitely, you said it better than I ever could. So, boom, that's what it's all about, and thank you for that inspiration.
Yeah, no
again.
problem.
And so, again, knowing what you know now, you're 29 going on 24, right, or something like that. Knowing what you know now and kind of experiencing all the incredible and some of the miserable things that you've been through, what is something that you would tell younger 20-something Trevor Hall?
If I could tell my younger self something, or my angsty teenager self, it would be to just relax, honestly. Just chill out. I mean, I think as you get older, I'm so done with my 20s. I'm over my 20s, I'm just tired of trying to figure things out, and I just want to just surrender. The older I get, the more I just think about surrender, and if I could tell my younger self something, it would be like, just relax, because I think when we're young, we're so, we want to, know it all, and we have this, which is beautiful. It's a beautiful spirit, and that's part of the journey, that shouldn't be left out. But, even so, I would just tell younger Trevor to just relax a little bit, I'm looking at him now. Oh, Trevor.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Well, yeah, that's great advice. And again, anyone who has been living under a rock, in a cave, maybe they've been a beach bum, eating papayas, and they haven't heard your music. Tell us where we can follow along.
You can follow at trevorhallmusic.com and Facebook /Trevor Hall, and our Instagram, Trevor Hall Music. It's all on there, Spotify, but just check it out.
Awesome.
Hopefully you like it.
Yeah. And when I was looking through the interviews to prep for this one, there was MySpace, there was Zanga, and then
all those old things. We don't have them anymore.
No, it's gone. It was like, you said Zanga?
Yeah.
MySpace? What?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so
poor MySpace just got swallowed up.
yeah, but Awesome, man. Well,
Yeah.
Trevor, thank you
Thanks,
so much.
man.
It was an honor.
Thanks, bro. Yeah,
and I
man.
can't wait to see your show in
Yeah,
a little
man.
bit.
Yeah, respect.
man.
Hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Searching for pleasure, but we only found pain. Not living in our hearts, only living in our brain. Chasing, yeah, we're chasing after name and fame.